Hello everyone, the reason of this video is that recently we entered 2017, so I was taking a look at different rankings of the best films released in 2016. And basically I disagreed with every ranking that I've come across by far. So I thought to give you my list of favorite movies released in 2016. But I would start first with the movie that I mostly disliked of the ones released last year. And I think that this movie is the worst of 2016, but probably the worst I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm talking about Batman vs Superman. Zack Snyder's superhero film that is the typical Zack Snyder kind of movie. Zoom in, zoom out, pointless, with this photography always in blue. No matter where you are, no matter what time of the day it is, it's always the same. There's no depth of field. So every movie of Zack Snyder is the same and is terrible, as usual. And I have to thank him for two reasons. Because he proved that you can have a budget of $250 million and make a piece of shit film. And on the other hand, you can earn over $850 million, which proves that nobody ever gets broken by betting on people's bad taste, basically. However, now I'll move to the 10 films that I enjoyed the most of the ones released in 2016. Number 10, Hail Caesar. Hail Caesar is a Coen Brothers film, and it's a typical Coen film with the unique style. And the funny thing is that this movie where the Josh Brolin, Scarlett Johansson, and George Clooney star in this movie, this film shows how Hollywood was terrible in the 50s, precisely like it is nowadays. There's nothing to say. I mean, everybody knows the Coen Brothers, so if you like their style, everybody should watch this film. Movie number 9 position for me is Woody Allen's Cafe Society. It's the same thing as for the Coen Brothers. If you like Woody Allen, and I wonder how could you not, this film is a typical witty Allen film of this phase of his career. There's a great performance by Jesse Eisenberg, who is in almost every film a great actor, except for Batman vs Superman. But in that case, that depends on the director. Woody Allen is one thing, Zack Snyder is a different, very different thing. In this film, what I didn't enjoy the most was the screenplay, because it reminded me partly of Billy Wilder's The Apartment and partly of Casablanca. But obviously, Cafe Society doesn't have The Apartment brilliancy nor the Casablanca power. However, it is a film smart and pleasant, and for the first time here, Woody Allen shoots with a digital camera, a 65 grand Sony camera, with a great photography and a great reconstruction of the 30s. So it's a film very well worth watching. Number 8, Sully. In this movie, we have a great performance of Tom Hanks, but like I said, for the Coen Brothers and Woody Allen, when you have a great director, the movie is almost always worth watching. And talking about here Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood is basically the opposite of Zack Snyder. He can turn a very banal story, biopic, yeah, but still not so super interesting of this guy, and turn it into a great movie. While Zack Snyder turns a great subject like The Watchmen into a piece of shit film. Here we have Clint Eastwood with his fantastic style that turns a banal story into a very good movie. And the thing is that every time I watch a film directed by Clint Eastwood, I always see Don Siegel and Sergio Leone at the same time, so that's a lot, and I hope he can last longer, considering it is already 86. Number 7, film ranked number 7, Fred Alvarez, Don't Breathe. Now, Alvarez is definitely a talented director, but he made this catastrophic mistake of directing the remake of Evil Dead, and it turned out to be a disaster. Probably was not free enough. Here he goes back to his own style and freedom and creates a film that works. Because this is not a horror, this is more a thriller than a horror, but with this gloomy photography, he can create tension from the beginning to the end. And it works very well, and the two most important messages that I've seen in this movie are that we don't see what we look at. It's not just a metaphor. If you see the movie, you understand straight away that it can be seen in two different ways. And the other point here is that complete equality between men and women is impossible, because when you see in a film a woman beaten, well, that disturbs the viewer much more than seeing a guy tortured. So I highly recommend Don't Breathe. Number 6, Suzanne White's Our Kind of Traitor. This is a spy story. That's very interesting. Based on a novel by John Le Carré, probably the most important spy story writer in the world. And this movie proves that this Susanna White can really shoot in a stylish way. And what is interesting is that the image that is given of secret services nowadays is very scary, because this lack of efficiency, this lack of power of the secret services right now, in a world where we need intelligence more than ever to prevent terror, well, if the situation is the one shown by this movie, well, we can really get worried. But the film is tense, the great editing gives the right rhythm of the film. Nobody talked about this movie, but it's a very good one. And besides Ewan McGregor, I have to say that Stellan Skarsgård performs in a fantastic way. Only John Goodman did something better than him this year, according to me. So these are the position from 10 to 6. Now we move to positions from 5 to number 1. So number 5, the 5th best film in 2016, released in 2016, according to me, is Captain Fantastic. This is Matt Ross' film. Matt Ross is an actor that turned out to be a more talented director than he is as an actor. However, this film starts from a subject that is not very original, because this guy and his wife, before she passes away, tried to raise their big family, 6 kids, in an unconventional/conventional way, because it's an unconventional way to keep them away from modern technology that tend to fuck up all of us. But on the other hand, they use the way of raising them that is typical of the hippie world in the late 60s. And this film is about how hard it is to find the right balance when you need to bring up your children, because find the right balance is very complicated. You can make them smart and witty, but then they tend to be, if they live outside of society, unable to deal with real people. And in this film, what is good about the directing style, great photography in this as well, is that the director tend to use still takes, still shots, focusing on the characters which represent different models of society. So that's, in the end, a very, very good one. Position number 4, The Witch. Number 4, The Witch, which is probably, most definitely, the horror of the year, and one of the best of the last 15-20 years. This film is Robert Eggers, who's a very great beginning, because it's his first movie, and it proves that this guy is very talented. The way he reconstructed America of the 17th century, in particular New England, is amazing. This is not only a horror, it's also a historical film that shows how the American dream is based on fanatics, Christian pilgrims, were nothing but fanatics, the same kind of fanatics that nowadays America is claiming to fight. So that's a very interesting subject, with a great photography, with these colors based on gray and brown, and the capability of scaring through the narration, through the screenplay, through the staging, through not cheap tricks, through the capability of short camera movement, framing the forest, and making you really scared. This film works, and works fine, and it can be seen in different ways, and this guy, this Robert Eggers, has to be checked out in the future. As far as the 3rd best film of 2016 is considered, for me, we have 10 Cloverfield Lane. Here, this movie by Dan Trachtenberg, it is a psychological thriller that probably will create a new type of psychological thrillers for future directors and movies. What is amazing about this film, besides John Goodman's performance, that is by far the best acting of 2016, is the screenplay. But in screenplay, not in terms of dialogues, but in terms of consistency, in terms of silences, evolution of the characters that seem something, then they seem to be something else, they change, and there's a narration that works. So great screenplay, great directing, movie that it takes place in a bunker, in 3 rooms, almost the entire film, and there's tension from beginning to the very end, and that proves ability. So great narrative construction and consistency, and so this is one of the best movies of the year, if not the best, because there are two that have something more, according to me. And in particular, number 2, Nocturnal Animals. This is Tom Ford's Nocturnal Animals. Tom Ford is a fashion designer, and you can tell it in every single shot that this guy has style. Stylish guy that makes a very, very great movie based on 3 different time frames: present, past, and fictitious. A man sends a novel to his ex-wife, and the story that she reads in this book is nothing but a metaphor of their relationship. And this film scares. This film with this capability of showing it that below a surface of happiness and success, there's something else with the colors, the staging, the message, and above all the cruelty of this film that keeps you staring at it. You cannot turn it off, and if you turn it off, you want to go back to the movie as soon as possible. You want to watch it, you want to know what's going on, even though you know that the story she's reading is fictitious, even in the film, but still you want to know what's gonna happen, and then you want to know what's gonna happen now in the real life and what happened in the past to make him write a story like that. So it is a very brilliant movie. This psychological thriller that takes place in the mind of the characters. And it could have been the best movie of the year if we didn't have William Refn's The Neon Demon. The Neon Demon is something that goes beyond cinema. It's something that partly is about classic horror based on Mario Bava, based on Dario Argento, and partly is the underlining of beauty obsession, the celebration of narcissism. Beauty in this movie is described not as an important thing, but like the only thing. And you can see how much women suffer for not having it, or how much they know they are dangerous because they have it. The very few ones that really have real beauty. In this movie, the celebration of beauty is done throughout every single shot. This is a masterpiece, and image is powerful. The screenplay is written by 2 women, and it's probably the most misogynistic screenplay ever written in the history of films and cinema, and we go beyond cinema. This is a pop masterpiece, full of beauty in every single shot, where this movie takes place in the real world, but then it goes over with the personal and surreal look of the director. To conclude about The Neon Demon, I can tell you that if you watch the first shot, that is worth the entire filmography of 95% of the rest of the directors in the world. So I cannot say any more than that. I hope you enjoyed. Don't know if you agreed or disagreed, but if you haven't seen these films, do it. Obviously not that Zack Snyder's Batman vs Superman. They will even make a sequel to that to prove that there's no end to the worst things in the world. They will keep happening. That's it. Have a good day. Bye bye.